Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Line Unbroken, my progression-style playthrough series of The Lord of the Rings, the card game. I'm playing the 6th and final quest from the Dream Chaser cycle, Storm on Cobus Haven. And, okay, so I'm thinking I don't want to mulligan this hand, because Gandalf's Staff and Keys of Orthanc are both good things to start with, although ideally I would like some more card draw. Of course, I also have this Galadhrim Minstrel, which could find me some more card draw. This hand, I want more resource generation, though. So, I'm going to mulligan this. And, okay, immediate Steward of Gondor. Still got Rune Master. I can probably work with this. So, setup. And because I think I can probably work with this, I don't feel the need to then mulligan this hand looking for the card draw to find more useful things. Okay, so shuffle the coast of Anbar, Corsair Raiders, Stormy Weather, Anbar Fleet and Voyage across Belagare encounter sets into one encounter deck and make it the active encounter deck. Set the City of Corsairs encounter set aside as an inactive second encounter deck. Prepare the Corsair deck. Players prepare their fleet, add the Stormcaller to the staging area, add 1 copy of Southern Belfalas to the staging area, 2 instead if there are 3 or 4 players in the game. Shuffle the encounter deck. So currently we have 2 copies of Southern Belfalas in the staging area, 3 threat, 5 quest points. Travel, 1 player must reveal the top card of the Corsair deck and engage it to travel here. So let's put that back in the encounter deck and shuffle it. I have already tabbed out the Corsair deck, Corsair discard pile, and the inactive second encounter deck here. I need to prepare my fleet, set heading to on course. Obviously I have the Dream Chaser, and on this occasion I'm revisiting Narelenia. Since I am only sailing for 1 quest stage, the choice of which ship is a bit different because it won't be a game-long thing. In this case, I would like to save a resource or 2 by getting some cheap allies out, rather than getting extra cards from the Dawn Star at the cost of threat, or basically the benefit of Silverwing would be reducing my starting threat, since I wouldn't keep the attack boost for that long. So, deep in enemy waters, you must recover the artifact from the Stormcaller. Sailing. Progress cannot be placed on the coast of Anbar if the players are off course. If the Stormcaller is destroyed, or if this stage has 15 or more progress on it, advance to stage 2. So, Control N. Let's see what we draw. Faint is good to see, and Voe Pelagia is alright. Oh, Denethor, of course, has 2 extra resources from his setup abilities, so I will immediately play Steward of Gondor onto Denethor, and then exhaust it to regain the 2 resources I spent. Pay 1 for Rune Master on Denethor. Attached to a ranger or leadership hero, response after a signal attachment is attached to a hero. Exhaust Rune Master to add 1 resource to that hero's resource pool. Now, I would very much like to be able to play an ally, but still have a resource left on Imrahil for his ability. It is possible for me to achieve that in a couple of ways. I can just do it with Gandalf's Staff. So yes, that should work out okay. Because otherwise I could get Imrahil an extra resource using Rune Master, because it adds the resource to the hero you just attached the signal to, not to the hero with Rune Master attached. However, ideally I want to be putting the Dunedain Warning onto Denethor, and indeed the Dunedain Signal. So, I will use Denethor's ability to move a resource from his pool to Imrahil's. And then I will play as in Silverbeard. I suppose it might be better to play the Marchman of Lorien right now. So let's play the Marchman of Lorien, and the Stormcaller has its defense reduced by 2 until the end of the round. And okay, yeah, I guess it might be better just to be sure. So I'm going to put a Dunedain, well, I suppose it may as well be a warning. Put a Dunedain warning onto Imrahil. Exhaust Rune Master to add a resource to him. Now over here, discard an Envoy of Palagir to add a resource to Arwen. Pay 1 for the Keys of Orthanc on Nasir. Now, Doomed 1 with Grima, pay 1 for a Galadhrim Minstrel. And search the top 5 cards of my deck for an event. Well, obviously I'm taking that Test of Will, and that potentially makes some of my decisions a bit harder to make. I did find a Deep Knowledge, though not the way I was expecting. Play that Deep Knowledge. So Doomed 2, and draw 2, okay. Also the Keys of Orthanc. So that has worked out by giving me the card I really wanted, which is Legacy of Numenor, Doomed 4. And everyone gains a resource. Unfortunately, of course, due to sequence, this all happens after the first deck has already finished planning, so I can't play any additional cards, although I'm not sure I would have wanted to, even given the option. But importantly, this means I now easily have enough resources for a bunch of other stuff. So let's actually, okay, let me think about this. Let's play Gandalf's Staff onto Gandalf, obviously, and then I might want to leave it at that. But I don't know. Okay, so let's play the Daeron's Runes. Okay, Unexpected Courage. All of these cards are good. I don't really want to discard any of them. I'm honestly considering discarding a Test of Will. But no, I guess Mablung is the most expendable, so discard Mablung. And now I could play Unexpected Courage. I would then have to use Gandalf's Staff to gain a Spirit Resource, so I would have a Test of Will available. But I might want to put that extra resource somewhere else, so I think I just leave it. So, Sailing. Heading goes off course. I commit no one to the sailing test, so I just remain off course. There is 5 threat in the staging area. I only need to quest hard enough to not raise my threat. So let's see, I can do 5, 3, 5, 8, 9. And that's probably enough. I also have Elrond's councils available. Corsair Waters. While it's the active location, no more than one ally can enter play each round. And Fogbank. While it's the active location, ship enemies do not make engagement checks, cannot attack, and cannot be attacked. Well, okay, so 6 threat added to the staging area. So I'm failing the quest by 2, but I can play Elrond's Council twice, dropping this deck's threat by 6, and increasing my willpower by 2. With the result that I break even, which is fine because I couldn't make progress anyway because I'm off course. Now, honestly, I would like the Corsair Waters out of the staging area just because of the amount of threat they are. But the restriction on allies entering play could be problematic for me. Let me think a minute. Okay, so after thinking for a bit, so the issue here is, while the Fogbank is active, ship enemies can't be attacked. I don't want that, because I want to attack the Stormcaller. While Corsair Waters is active, no more than one ally can enter play each round, and I believe this will apply retroactively. Obviously, this round 2 allies have already entered play, but it would mean that no more allies could enter play this round, which would stop me using Prince Imrahil's ability. Combat action. Spend 1 resource from Prince Imrahil's resource pool to search the top 5 cards of your deck for an ally who shares at least 1 trait with him, and put that ally into play. Shuffle your deck. At the end of the phase, if that ally is still in play, shuffle it into your deck. Limit once per round. So I wouldn't be able to do that, and I would like to do that. Southern Belfast. 1 player must reveal the top card of the Corsair deck and engage it to travel here. That is a lot more doable, but it's still risky, so I'm actually inclining towards the option of just not travelling. So, I think I'm going to not travel. Then I engage the Stormcaller, boarding 1. Okay, Anbar Slaver gets +1 attack and +1 threat for each resource on it. After the engaged player spends any number of resources, place 1 of those resources on Anbar Slaver. Okay. Deals shadow cards. So I am going to trigger Prince Imrahil's ability. It is spending a resource, so a resource goes on the Anbar Slaver. Now I search the top 5 cards of my deck for an ally. Well, there is the perfect ally. Bjorn has the warrior trait, which Prince Imrahil also has, so he comes into play by this effect. So, okay. The Dream Chaser will defend against the Stormcaller. No shadow effect, 2 damage. I certainly could defend the Anbar Slaver with Denethor, or I could just use a feint. Of course, that would be spending another resource. He's potentially going to end up with a lot of resources, so I might want to save the feint for next round when he will be very powerful. So I defend with Denethor. He's attacking for 3. Attacking enemy gets +2 because I am off course. Denethor takes 2 damage. Now, for attacking back, so the Stormcaller has -2 defense this round because of the Marchman of Lorien that I played. So that's 4 defense and 18 hit points. It would take 22 attack to destroy the Stormcaller. I trigger Bjorn's ability. He gets +5 attack until the end of the phase, and at the end of the phase he will be shuffled back into my deck, but he was going to be shuffled back into my deck anyway because of Prince Imrahil's ability. That's why he's the perfect combo with Imrahil. So Bjorn is 8 attack. 11, 14, 16, 19. Nasia's attack can be increased by spending resources from her at a rate of 2 attack per resource. So, yeah, there isn't really an option where I can also destroy the Slaver, which is slightly frustrating, but 8, 11, 14, 17, 19, 21, 23 attack. Destroys the Stormcaller. And of course, if the Stormcaller is destroyed, or if this stage has 15 or more progress on it, the Stormcaller is destroyed, advance to stage 2. Honestly, I was expecting to have to take 2 rounds to destroy the Stormcaller, but I just happened to, when I paused the recording and did my bit of thinking, I realized that I was only actually, if I was willing to spend all of Nasia's resources, including giving her an extra one with Gandalf's staff, then I was only 3 attacks short of destroying the Stormcaller this round, and getting 3 attack out of Prince Imrahil's ability was fairly plausible. In fact, I got Bjorn, which allowed me to save some resources. So I advanced to stage 2. Suddenly, all of the beacons and lights along the watchtower are snuffed as fog rolls in from the east. "Pull up the sails," you hear, but it is too late. The Corsair ships turn at once, and the Dream Chaser smashes into the rocks. You are plunged into the cold waters, struggling to stay afloat. When revealed, each player assigns damage among non-ship characters he controls equal to the total damage on each ship objective he controls. Discard all ship enemies, ship objectives, and ocean locations in play. So that's just 2 damage on the Dream Chaser, which I'll put 1 on Grima and 1 on Arwen. And all 3 of these locations are ocean locations, so they are discarded. Corsairs remain in play, though. Your ships have shattered upon the rocks. You barely manage to make it to shore. When revealed, shuffle the Corsair deck and Corsair discard pile into the second encounter deck. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for each copy of Battle Hardened and each copy of Watchtower and shuffle them into the second encounter deck. Set the current encounter deck and discard pile aside inactive. The second encounter deck becomes the active encounter deck. Advance to stage 3. So, let's look here. Oh, also, although it doesn't say it, this Starlit Sea, obviously it's currently in play as a shadow card, but it should also go to the inactive encounter deck. So, Battle Hardened goes to the second encounter deck. Watchtower goes to the second encounter deck, and there should be a second copy of each of those cards. And that's it. Everything in the discard pile is remaining gone. So let's shuffle that into the encounter deck. And now here we go. swap with encounter deck, and there we go, and move all to encounter deck from the special deck, and I will just at this point take the Starlit Sea and put it in the inactive encounter deck. And I advance to stage 3. The Dream Chaser and her fleet have met their ultimate fate. Oh, also, my ships are gone. I'll just put them in the victory display. The Dream Chaser and her fleet have met their ultimate fate, but you still have your mission to complete. Sahir is somewhere within the city. When revealed, search the encounter deck for the Shattered Monument and Captain Sahir and set them aside out of play. Here they are. Each player searches the encounter deck for one enemy and one location and adds them to the staging area. If the Stormcaller was not destroyed at stage 1, add 1 resource to each raider enemy in play. The Stormcaller was destroyed, so I don't have to worry about that. So, one enemy and one location each. So, X is the highest number of resources on a raider enemy in play. That is going to be quite a lot because of this Anbar Slaver. So, usually I would take this because usually I've been keeping the board state under control and there aren't a lot of resources on raiders. In this case, there are. So instead, Streets of Anbar is only one threat. And this doesn't say that they have to be different locations, so I think I will take 2 copies of the Streets of Anbar. There are ways that this could cause me problems, but it should be fine. Then, let's see, Corsair Infiltrator is easy to kill, so I think that's a reasonable choice. And then, what are my respective threats? 34 and 33. I'm going to take a raid leader because I will not have to engage it. Okay. Find them! You can hear shouting throughout the city. Sahir has raised the alarm. Set upon on all sides by Corsairs, you must fight your way through and stop the captain. Okay, back to finishing off this combat phase. Let's add a resource to with Gandalf's staff to Nasir. And that, I think, is it for the round. Oh, heading also no longer a thing, because I'm no longer sailing. So, Control N. Oh, and Bjorn should have been shuffled back into my deck. So, as soon as my computer catches up, I have not drawn this Dunedain Warning. This Dunedain Warning goes back to my deck. Bjorn goes back to my deck. Shuffle, and then I draw Rune Master. Okay, less useful. Okay, so Bilbo. Well, let's trigger Grima's Doomed One, which triggers the Keys of Orthanc to add a resource to Nasir. Then I pay 1 for Bilbo Baggins. And search my deck for the Wizard Pipe. Add it to my hand. Shuffle. Quick Beam. Quick Beam could be useful. But I'm not sure if he's my top priority right now. Let's pay 1 for the Wizard Pipe. And then Oh, also yes, I haven't used Arwen's ability. I could also do that. So yeah, in fact, I'm going to switch Quick Beam out with this Unexpected Courage, and then discard Quick Beam to add a resource to Arwen, then pay 2 for the Unexpected Courage, and then discover that the next card down is also an Unexpected Courage. The Unexpected Courage should probably go on Denethor. Now, coming over here, Exhaust Steward. So, okay, let me think about this. I will want to defend at least once with Denethor. So he really needs that Dunedain warning. Basically, I don't think I can play Azane Silverbeard this round, which is unfortunate because he's very useful, but if I transfer this Dunedain warning, Denethor gains a resource, then I can pay 3 for the Veteran of Osgiliath and also transfer a resource back to Imrahil. So, inconsistent language here. Dunedain Warning, it says action, pay 1 resource from attached hero's pool to attach Dunedain Warning to another hero. This says after the engaged player spends any number of resources. Definitely, I think playing the Veteran Osgiliath counts as spending resources, so I add a resource. I don't know if moving the Dunedain Warning counts or not, but let's assume it does. So now, I no longer need to sail, I just need to quest. There is 7 threat in the staging area. Maybe I should put this Unexpected Courage on Nasir instead of Denethor, given that he's kind of injured. Yeah, actually, let's put it on Nasir. And then, actually, let's not move the warning yet. Because I might want to move the warning to Nasir. Okay. So, yes, 7 threat in the staging area. I'm definitely questing for 2, 5, 7, 8. I guess it has to be 11. Maybe I need the Dunedain signal just in case. I don't know, it might be alright though. It's actually probably okay. So, let's see. Battle Hardened. Place 1 resource on each raider enemy in play. Each engaged non-ship enemy makes an immediate attack. I do have a test of will, don't I? Yes, I have 2 tests of will. So, we cancel that. And also reveal an Anbar raider. Okay, so that's added 2 threat to the staging area. I make 2 progress. Now, the Streets of Anbar, when faced with the option to travel, if Streets of Anbar is in the staging area, the players must either travel to a location named Streets of Anbar or add 2 resources to a raider enemy in play. I will travel to the Streets of Anbar. Now I have to engage this Anbar Raider and this Corsair Infiltrator. Here's where it would be really useful to have Azane Silverbeard in play. But, okay. Yeah. Put them this way round. So, first off, I use Imrahil's ability. Okay. Let's take that Squire of the Citadel. And shuffle my deck. So now, this means I'm totally okay to play the Feint on the Anbar Raider, thus avoiding what otherwise would have had to be an undefended attack. The Squire of the Citadel can defend against the Anbar Slaver, which is now attacking for 7, because I paid 1 for that Feint. Oh no, I paid 1 for Imrahil's ability, I then paid 1 for the Feint. He's attacking for 8. The attacking enemy is a raider, move 1 resource from a hero you control to attacking enemy. Okay, I guess I'll move it from Imrahil. He's attacking for 9. Squire dies, and I add the resource back to Imrahil. Now I could defend the Infiltrator with Denethor. I could discard the Shadow card with Gandalf's Staff, if need be. Or I could defend it with Nasir. Let's see, it takes 8 to kill the Slaver. That's definitely doable. Yeah, I guess ideally I want to defend this with Denethor. So, exhaust Gandalf's Staff to discard this Shadow card. In fact, it had no effect, but I didn't want to take the risk. Denethor defends and takes no damage. Now, Nasir is 2 attack, so 2, 5. Oh no, wait, I'm not at 40 threat yet, so the Veteran Wars Gileath is only 2 attack. So okay, 2, 5 kills the Corsair Infiltrator. 3, 5, 7, paying a resource, 9 kills the Anbar Slaver. And I should really move Stoondyne Morning, but I would really like to be able to afford Azane Silverbeard soonish. That's one way in which it would have possibly been advantageous to take an extra round on stage 1 to destroy the Stormcaller. I could have played Azane Silverbeard for 1 less resource, and he would just be in play now. That would be very useful. Yeah, I'm gonna pay 1 to move the Dunedain Warning to Denethor, where it's supposed to be. He gains a resource from Rune Master. Control N. And, oh yes, of course, the ally I got with Imrahil's ability was the Squire of the Citadel, who died, so he wasn't still in play at the end of the phase, so he didn't get shuffled back in. And this shadow card should have been discarded. Okay, so now I guess I also want to play this Dunedain Signal onto Denethor, which gains him a resource. Doomed one and pay 1 for a Galadhrim Minstrel. Search the top 5 cards in my deck for an event. Deep Knowledge. And shuffle. And of course, the Doomed from Grima triggers the Keys of Orthanc, so Nasia gets an extra resource. Yeah, if I use the Deep Knowledge, then the first deck will hit 40 threat, and I will definitely have to engage the Raid Leader, which I'm not really ready for. I mean, I suppose I could deal with it, but I would rather that I didn't have to. So I guess I definitely don't play Deep Knowledge on those grounds. Another Unexpected Courage could be good. I guess I will put it on Denethor in the hopes that I find my healing soon-ish. And then I can use the Wizard Pipe to put a Test of Will on top of my deck so it can be paid for with Gandalf's resource if need be. There's 4 threat in the staging area. It would be useful to keep Gandalf ready for combat. Quest for 9, like that. I guess I have to accept that I'm going to slow down a bit in this section of the quest. When revealed, each player returns an enemy engaged with into the staging area until the end of the round. Enemies cannot be optionally engaged. If there are no enemies in the staging area, search the encounter deck and discard pile for an enemy and add it to the staging area. That's honestly probably okay, because now this deck is not engaged with an enemy that it can't deal with. And this deck is first player, so the inability to optionally engage isn't so much of a problem. I mean, yeah, it could be a bit of a problem. But this will just end up with me back in the situation I was in before, only I don't need to... If I'd cancelled the treachery, I would have ended up in the same situation I'm going to end up in, but with 1 less test of will and resource. So, I have added 4 additional threat to the staging area. I make 1 progress. Okay, so I'm pretty sure when faced with the option to travel, it doesn't count if you can't travel because there's already an active location. One could potentially argue that point, but I think I'm right. So, I cannot optionally engage, so the enemies end up like this. Deal shadow cards. Okay, so Denethor obviously is going to be defending this one, and I'm going to discard the shadow card. So let's do that right away. I'm actually not sure if there are any shadow effects that could kill Denethor on this. So I think it's okay. I mean, okay, if there is a shadow effect that could kill Denethor, then I could check the whole encounter deck to find out if it exists. I would rather not do that, so I'm going to assume there isn't, and if it turns out there is, then I will say, well, I could have checked the encounter deck, in which case I would have done something else. That something else would probably have been defending with Nasia, who can spend resources to increase her defense. Or using Imrahil's ability, hoping to get a chump, or just chumping anyway. But I'm pretty sure this is fine. If attacking enemy is a raid, move one resource from a hero you control to attacking enemy. So, I can deal with that, because that adds one resource, which increases his attack by 1. Denethor is defending for 4 with the Dunedain Warning. I was pretty sure there was nothing that could increase his attack by more than 2. Essentially was the point. And maybe I'll check the encounter deck later and find out if I was right about that. But I'm pretty sure. And he also Sentinel defends this. Takes a resource afterwards. Now it takes 8 to kill this guy. 2, 5, 7. So I could pay a resource, or I could use the Deep Knowledge, which the threat raise up to 40. Oh, no, hang on. I use Imrahil's ability at this point. Okay, so I can't do the Weatherhill's Watchman because I don't share a trait with him. The Envoy of Pelargir would allow me to just put the resource straight back again. Yeah, that seems fine. So I was saying I could have used the Deep Knowledge to increase this deck's threat to 40, at which point the Veteran Osgiliath would have 1 more point of attack. But instead I can just use Imrahil's ability after defending the attack, so adding the extra resource to the slaver doesn't matter, and I get the Envoy of Pelargir, who adds 1 more point of attack. Also, when she enters play, I can just add that resource back to Imrahil that I just spent. So I'm attacking for 2, 5, 7, 8, and kill the slaver. And over here, Gandalf attacks for 3, the Marchman of Lorien joins in, making it 6. So my only enemy in play is the raid leader. Things are pretty reasonable. Control N. Oh, and once again I should have shuffled the Envoy back into my deck. Okay, and I've found a Weatherhill's Watchman, that's nice. Okay, so now there's the question of whether I continue using Grima's ability. And yeah, I'm going to continue using Grima's ability. So, Doomed 1, which triggers the Keys of Orthanc. And I'll pay the resource from Gandalf to play this Galadriel's Handmaiden from the top of my deck. So I suppose I could, at this point, use the Handmaiden to drop this deck's threat by 1, and thus remain below the engagement cost of the raid leader. Though I was thinking of just also playing the Deep Knowledge in hopes of finding more useful cards. On the other hand, there's always I do obviously have these greetings, so as soon as I can play them, I can drop back down to safe levels. As far as dealing with the raid leader goes, in general, I mean, Nasir could defend it, obviously. So that's not too big a concern. It's just a question of, I suppose, if I get additional enemies that I have to manage as well at the same time. So let's take the safe option. Drop my threat, do not play Deep Knowledge. So Exhausted Steward of Gondor, use Denethal's ability to move a resource to Imrahil. Pay 2 for Weatherhill's Watchman, search the top 5 cards of my deck for a signal attachment and don't find one. Okay, that's annoying. But also, I can afford to pay 3 for Azain Silverbeard. There is 4 threat in the staging area. So let's quest 3, 5, 8, 10, 12, 14. And we reveal Anbar Harbour. Once the active location Corsair enemies get +2 defense. And another raid leader. Okay. I think I was right not to use the Deep Knowledge. So that's added 7 threat to the staging area. I make 3 progress, which is not enough. I have no means of increasing my progress. So, okay. There it is. And now, raid leader engages. Steals 1 resource from each hero. Do the shadow card. Okay, so attacking for 5. I defend with Nasir. The attacking enemy is raid. Place 2 resources on it. Okay. So attacking for 5, defending for 2, 4, 6. No damage. I need 11 attack to kill it, but 2, 5, 8, 9, 11, more than enough. And I'm going to exhaust Gandalf's staff to add a tactics resource. Which, actually no, I was thinking of using that tactics resource to trigger Azain Silverbeard to deal 2 damage to the raid leader in the staging area, but I will have to engage it next round anyway, so I may as well either add that resource to Arwen, which I was thinking of doing to get myself a greeting quicker, or just add it to Nasia, which is sort of the focus, but let's go with Arwen at this point. Now, I'm going to have to engage the raid leader next round regardless, so I'm going to play this Deep Knowledge. Okay, I play the gaining strength for Nasia. And I discard Gandalf's staff to add a resource to Arwen. And then, okay, no, actually, hang on. I can use the wizard pipe to swap Galadhrim's Greeting onto the top of my deck at the end of the combat phase, and then, technically, Control R, we get into the refresh phase, where everything is ready again, and it's a different phase for the purposes of Gandalf's ability, so I can, at that point, also I can pay one of the resources from Gandalf, pay 3 for the Galadhrim's Greeting, and drop my threat by 6. Control N. Okay, Send for Aid is good. So let's exhaust Steward, move a resource to Imrahil. I mean, there's no reason for me not to play Send for Aid. I don't have to actually quest to it. And now I could actually use Greeting for this deck. So, yeah, let's trigger Grima's Doomed One, which triggers the Keys of Orthanc, and pay 2 for this Greeting, dropping this deck's threat to 37. And then let's also play Glare-Wine from the top of my deck. Discard Glare-Wine from my hand to add a resource to Arwen. Shadowfax would actually be a good thing to play, but kind of forgot about him. Never mind. Glare-Wine will exhaust to have this deck draw a card. Bjorn, not really a useful card to draw. I don't want him in my hand, but then that's why I have multiple copies, just in case I do draw him into my hand. Okay. So there is 4, 7, 8 threat in the staging area. I can quest for 3, 5, 8, 10, 14, make it 15. And we reveal Corsair Infiltrator and Fury and Malice. Add 1 resource to each engaged raider enemy, then each player assigns damage among characters he controls equal to the number of resource tokens on each raider enemy raider enemies engaged with him. If no damage is assigned by this effect, it gains Surge. Watchtower. While it's in the staging area, it gains forced when a raider enemy enters play. Add 1 resource to it. Okay. So I've added 4 additional threats. Oh, I was questing to Send for Aid. I make 3 progress. 1, 2, 3. Maybe I shouldn't have been questing to Send for Aid, but... Okay, so I have no choice but to travel to the streets of Anbar still. This deck is first player, so yeah, let's engage the raid leader. and the Corsair Infiltrator will naturally engage. The raid leader steals a resource from everyone. The Infiltrator does not have any resources. Let's use Imrahil's ability. Grab the Squire of the Citadel. See, obviously I could defend these normally, but the handy thing is, if I use the Imrahil ally as a chump, like this, then it effectively, it thins out my deck, because it ensures that I will not draw that Squire of the Citadel. Okay, so adding resources to the Infiltrator would just give him more shadow cards, so it doesn't help if his shadow card gives him more resources. Is there a straightforward attack boost in this quest? In this part of this quest, even, that would increase his attack by 2. So I think it's mostly just add resources, which can cause problems, but we don't seem to have just straight attack increases. So if attacking enemies raided, deal an additional shadow card for each resource token on it to a maximum of 3 additional shadow cards. He doesn't have any resources. Denethor is fine. So it's 5 for this guy and 9 for this guy. Let's see, so 2, 4, no, 2, 3, 5, and 3, 6, 9. Really not having any problems at this point. I just need to get through my questing. I probably want to not bother with send for aid under the circumstances. I have hit control N. Yep, there we go. Okay, I drew another Bjorn. Okay, Bilbo, not useful. That's okay, so I'll Wizard Pipe Shadowfax onto the top of my deck. And Trigger Griemer's doomed 1. And pay 2 for Shadowfax on Gandalf. Keys of Orthanc. Also pay 1 for Horse Breeder. Search the top 10 cards for another copy of Shadowfax, just to thin out the deck. Shuffle Galadriel's Handmaiden, which I can't play now because I've already played from the top of my deck. Exhaust Steward. Move a resource to Imrahil. Play Dwarven Sellsword. At the end of the round, discard him unless the players as a group spend 1 leadership resource. I should have spare leadership resources. So, 6 threat in the staging area. Three, 5, 8, 10. 11, 13, 15, 17, 18. And yeah, I think I just don't care about send for aid at this point. Just go for the main quest. Another watchtower. They will stack, of course. So this Anbar raider enters play with 2 resources on him. That's added 4 threat to the staging area. So I make 8 progress. 5 clears the streets of Anbar. 3 goes on the quest. So now I definitely want these watchtowers out of the way. Engage the Anbar raider. Use Imrahil's ability. Okay, there are actually no allies in there. Shuffle the deck. Defend with Nasir. He's attacking for 5. I'm defending for 2, 4, 6. And then he steals one of my resources after the attack. But then I just need to attack back for 6. Goes Gandalf's stuff to draw a card. Not to have this deck draw a card, to be more precise. Okay. And envoy. So, exhaust steward. And move a resource to Imrahil. Oh, and I had to pay 1 to keep the sellsword in play, that's fine. Pay 1 for Dunedain Mark onto Nasir. Exhausting Rune Master to add a resource to her. Okay, at this point I'm going to pay 2 from Imrahil for this envoy, and add the resource back to Imrahil, because I would like to keep this sellsword in play. So I'm going to Wizard Pipe this Handmaiden onto the top of my deck. Oh, I forgot to also Glare Wine the first deck for an extra card, not a useful one. Yes, Wizard Pipe, the Handmaiden onto the top of my deck, and then Doomed 1, pay for it with Gandalf. Drop this deck's threat back down. This one is up by 1 from the Doomed. Nasir gains a resource. How hard can I quest? The 6th threat in the staging area. 3, 5, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21. I need 16 progress, so yeah, I'm going to send the extra 4 there. 25 against 6, because questing is really my problem here. Combat is pretty sewn up. City of Corsairs, okay, there's just 1 resource on the raider enemy, so I've added 4 threat. I make 15 progress. 3 goes there, 12 goes here. I play this Elrond's Council from the top of my deck. Reduce my threat by 3 and increase my willpower by 1. Making that a total of 16 progress. So 13 goes here. Okay, I overdid that. And I advance the quest. You chase Sahir through the streets, eventually cornering him in the broken monument atop a hill overlooking the city. He grins as you confront him. "You're not easy to kill," he scoffs, and unsheathes a long, dark blade. When revealed, add the shattered monument to the staging area. Put Captain Sahir into play engaged with the first player. This also is why I definitely wanted to advance on an odd-numbered round while the combat deck was first player. Each player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for an enemy and adds it to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck, add 1 resource to each raider enemy in play. So, Shattered Monument. Each raider enemy with at least 1 resource on it is immune to player events. At the beginning of the resource phase, add 1 resource to each raider enemy in play. Captain Sahir, who enters play and thus gains a resource from the Watchtower, and also from the quest card. 6628. Captain Sahir engages the first player. For each point of damage Captain Sahir would take, discard 1 resource from him and cancel that damage. For every 5 resources on Captain Sahir, he makes an additional attack against the engaged player each combat phase. And 20 victory points. So, yes, each player also searches the encounter deck and discard pile for an enemy and adds it to the staging area. So, okay, let's take a look at what's in the encounter deck. 2 treacheries that don't have shadow effects. So that's very useful to know. And now... Okay, so let's take definitely 1 Corsair Infiltrator. Maybe, yeah, just take 2 Corsair Infiltrators. Okay. And because of the combination of the quest card and the Watchtower, every raider ends up with 2 resources. So, Sahir cackles, a crazed look in his eyes. "With the power of this sword, I will rule the seas from here to the Grey Havens." While any enemy has resources on it, Captain Sahir gains indestructible. Forced, when a hero or enemy is destroyed, add its resources to Captain Sahir. If Captain Sahir is destroyed, the players have finally put an end to the Corsairs' treacherous plot and win the game. So... I suppose I could travel to the Shattered Monument or to the Watchtower. Let's go to the Shattered Monument. I'm not sure if it will actually matter. Optionally engage this. Natural engagements will then happen like this. So, we deal our shadow cards, which we know have no shadow effects. And then there are no more cards in the encounter deck. So, use Imrahil's ability. Okay, so obviously the Marchman of Lorien is the best choice. I was just about to get to a Dunedain Remedy. Could have used Gandalf's staff during the planning phase to draw a card and actually do some healing, but never mind. Yeah, the Marchman of Lorien will reduce the defense of the Corsair Infiltrator by 2. This score instead of Corsair Infiltrator specifically. This guy... Oh, hang on. I just spent a resource. Hang on. So, I should have declared Denethor as a defender against this guy first. He's attacking for 4. Denethor is fine, because Denethor is defending for 4. And then also defend this one. And then, like at this point, after defending this guy, I use Imrahil's ability, which adds another resource here, but it's not so important. Now, I also need to defend here and the Infiltrator. So, let me think about this. I don't have a great answer to all this. Because, of course, unfortunately, I did have to... Okay, hang on, no. No, so what I should have done is I should have taken this Corsair Infiltrator undefended. Then had Gandalf, who is a sentinel with Shadowfax, defend against Captain Sahir. And Denethor, who is a sentinel with the Dunedain signal, could defend against the Infiltrator. And that probably will work out. I might be able to fit in paying a resource from Denethor to move the Dunedain warning to Gandalf while he's defending Sahir. Let's do that. So he takes 1 less damage just to slightly improve my score. Because Denethor still is fine against the Infiltrator. Okay, so this guy... No, hang on. Firstly, 3, 6, 8 kills the Anbar slaver. His resources are placed on Sahir. Now Captain Sahir has 5 resources, so he would make an additional attack against the engaged player each combat phase, but enemy attacks are already done for the round. Now, Azain Silverbeard... Oh, if I paid that resource to move the Dunedain warning, then it would have gone on the slaver, and therefore would now be on Sahir. Azain Silverbeard attacks for 3. This guy had his defense reduced by 2, so 1 defense, 2 hit points. Azain Silverbeard kills him. Resources go on Sahir. I trigger Azain Silverbeard's response to deal 2 damage to an enemy who shares a trait, that being this guy. His resources also go on Sahir. I'm going to exhaust Gandalf's staff. Actually, So now, we just have Nasia, who is +1 attack from the Dunedain mark. So in fact I slightly overkilled the slaver. So, she attacks for 3 and has 10 resources. That is 23 attack. Each resource effectively counts as an extra hit point on Sahir. So, I only need 20 attack. Therefore, Gandalf's staff will be used to draw a card and not find any threat reduction. Now, Nasia gets her big moment, attacking for 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21. So here has 2 defense, so that's 19 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What the hell? Spend the extra resource. So, 11 damage out of his 8 hit points. He's dead. For some reason, Octagon doesn't register his victory points. Never mind. So my score should be better by 20. So in fact it should be just 117, which is actually pretty great. And that is the City of Corsairs. So, it's a very fun quest. I like this quest a lot. I have one problem with this quest, and that is stage 3, to be honest. The initial sailing, it's fine. The boss fight with Sahir is great, and usually it lasts longer, because the design of it makes it difficult to just one-shot him. But nothing really happens on stage 3. Or nothing significant. You get some enemies and locations, but there are no interesting ongoing effects, just the when revealed. And because it has so many quest points, it tends to take a while. Where, I mean, I don't feel like you should go directly from crashing your ships to fighting Sahir. That might seem a bit much. But as it is, I think you get too much of a break. Which, I mean, that's why I was able to just stack up 10 resources on Nasia and one-shot Sahir. It would have been rather more difficult for me to one-shot Sahir if I didn't spend so long on stage 3. So, that's a slight issue with the quest for me, but I do still really like the boss fight. It's a great end to the cycle. I'm very glad that Nasia got to have her revenge on Captain Sahir. This rounds out the cycle. I will, of course, be doing a post and video for Siege of Numenor, which was the Gen Con quest during this cycle, and then that will, at that point, I will be diving back into Nightmare for a while. If you enjoyed this, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.